hustling, by doing the only thing I knew how to do, doors opened for me that I couldn't have otherwise imagined.
While other people are focused on impressing each other, people like me are winning on LinkedIn. Why? Because it's all about connecting.
I couldn't breathe if I wasn't an entrepreneur.
Welcome to the Startup Gambit. I'm SHAUNA Arnott, founder and CEO of HASTE and HUSTLE.
And I'm DEVON Codrington, COO of HASTE and HUSTLE. And today we have Steve Sims, founder and creative disruptor of Steve D Sims. Hey, Steve, how's it going? We've been looking forward to this for a while. We really want to hear your story, hear about everything you've been up to, and share it with the listeners. But before we jump in, we'll take a quick minute to listen to a word from our sponsor, Meridian Credit Union.
What if I'm not ready?
What if I don't have all the answers?
What if I just keep going?
What if it doesn't go as expected?
What if this setback helps me see the bigger picture?
What if I realize how far I've come?
What if I remember I'm doing the best I can with what I've got?
Today, I'm ready for what if.
Get ready for what if. Meridian, where banking feels good.
Hey, Steve, how's it going?
It's going well, thank you.
SHAUNA, how's it going?
It's great. Thank you for asking. It's Monday and it's raining, but I'm still.
It's gloomy here too. Yeah, it really is. But, we're talking to Steve, so we're in better mood for sure.
We were both just saying how excited we were about this. And, I've known you, Steve, for a few years now, and always eager to see what you're up to. I'm curious about, how you've gotten to where you are, although I have some pretty good insights. It's funny. I actually listened to your audiobook when I was getting my passport a few years ago. And so I listened to it like driving to the passport office, sitting, waiting in the passport office, driving home. And I think I listened to almost the entire book, and so now I associate that to the passport.
It's got to get my passport renewed. Might as well just listen to it again.
So you relate me to a horrible government office experience. Nice, I like the trigger,
and maybe a little bit of travel.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, like it was good. You made the horrible government experience a little bit more later. I was actually like laughing to myself when you would say things and people were looking at me, and I don't know, it's quite funny. So it made it a good experience. But I'm excited for you to now, we always love to give our guests the opportunity to share with our listeners, their background. And so I'd love for you to take a few minutes to just give everyone some insight into who you are and all that stuff. So welcome.
Thank you. Wow, that's a big question. I'll try and keep it short. Currently, I'm a speaker, coach. I run a media company, media marketing and branding with my son, Sims.media. But before that, for 25 plus years, I was the Mr. Fix-It, the nice version of Ray Donovan for the rich and famous, and probably the rich and unknown. I run the world's leading experiential concierge firm. But if we go even prior to that, I was a East London bricklayer that was just pissed off with my life. Mm-hmm. And if you speak to any entrepreneur or any successful entrepreneur, it always starts from that point of aggravation, doesn't it? The point that damn it, why do we have to do it like this? Or why do I have to live like this? Elon Musk tells the story how he couldn't understand how it took 5 days for money to transfer from one bank account to another when the money didn't actually physically go anywhere. It was just a series of numbers, which was basically just an email, but it took 5 days. And what did he do to get over that aggravation? He invented PayPal. So I grew up as an East London aggravated kid who wanted and demanded more. Simple as that.
That's incredible. And you're totally right. I think we all sort of realize that somewhere along the lines, and as if we're in regular jobs or whatever. And I know I felt the same way working in a regular job and always looking for efficiencies and trying to make things better and getting like, almost saying like, no, we're not doing it that way. That's not how we do it around here. It's like, but it's better, and recognizing very early on that that's actually the mindset of an entrepreneur. You want to fix things. You want to make things more streamlined, more efficient, all the different things. And in order to do that, you have to become your own entity.
Very much so. A friend of ours, Joe Polish, he openly says that it's aggravated oysters that make pearls.
Oh,
There you go. Oh, that's a
Oh.
great thing.
Yeah, yeah.
never heard that. That's so cool.
Yeah,
A
Joe
little-
Joe says really smart things because he's heard about them from someone else.
That's amazing.
Don't we all?
Yep.
I know. I feel like Joe and I have a lot in common. That's amazing. Well, it's true. It's true. A literal gem from Joe Polish. Thank you. Awesome. Well, one thing that I recognized when I was listening to your book and, and just obviously knowing you is that, you are incredible at, obviously dreaming outside of the box. And I know we touched on this already about being aggravated, but I think a lot of people are aggravated in their jobs and see things better. But what is it that you think was within you that pushed you to sort of dream outside and then do it and, take that next step to be an entrepreneur?
That's a great question. I think it was because of my superpower, and my superpower. And this is a true story. My wife actually came up. Well, you've met my wife at the launch party of Bluefishing
Yes,
in London, in that whiskey bar in Sunset. We had a dinner party at my house many years ago, and we had a couple that were from the actual at the time the upcoming Avengers movie. All right, I don't like to name their names. They were at our house. We were having a typical Hollywood dinner party where there's a couple of big high-end movie stars at it. And we were talking about, Marvel movies and superheroes and things like that. And one of them turned around and said, "Oh, this will be fun. Let's go around the table and let's say, if you had a superpower, what would your superpower be?" Now, he turned around, he went, "Let's start off Now, I was at he's 11 o'clock. So I knew that it was going to be quite a few people before it got to me, which gave me the chance to really, okay, I want to say something that really sounds smart here, which is ridiculous because let's be honest, as blokes, we all want the superpower to be able to see through ladies' clothing.
I thought you were going to say fly. I thought you were going to say the fly.
Perverts deep down. But that's most guys go, "Oh yeah." But so I'm sitting there at this dining table thinking, right, I need to think of something, I need to be able to, bat my eyelids and cure, poverty, or we need to be able to, come up with some way of being able to make people smarter or, get rid of obesity. You want to come up with something intelligent. But I'd had a couple of whiskeys in me and I was getting nowhere with this. When it came around to me, I was trying to think, that's a good, and I was still trying to think of something that made me sound smart. And my wife went, "Hang on, I know Steve's superpower." Now, there's nothing better than having someone else say something good about you. And this is my girl. This is my wife. We've been together for 30-something years. So I thought, she's going to make me sound good in front of all of these peers and these people at this dinner table, and I'm going to look really good. And she said, "You know what it is? It's ignorance."
Oh,
Oh, man.
And I thought to myself, I'm getting a divorce. Now the whole table just kind of went, ooh, and they did not know how to take this. Right? You could feel the temperature of the table move. And my wife went, no, hang on a minute. When has Steve ever done something that you've turned around and you've gone, how the hell did he manage to pull that off? How did he do that? It's because he's ignorant to any other result. He's ignorant to anyone scorning him or laughing at him. He's ignorant to the possibility that it could go any other way than the way he's come up with in his head.
Wow.
And when you think of it like that, kids are ignorant to it not working, aren't they? Yeah, I can jump. How many of us have tried skateboarding over something and then cracks a rib because we couldn't do that? Exactly. We're ignorant to the pain, aren't we? And we go and do things that we shouldn't. And as parents, we're like, slow down, Timmy. You're going to hurt yourself. And we try to breed it into our kids that they should slow down. But kids are ignorant to any other way than it going perfectly as they've imagined it. As I got older, I realized I didn't care about people laughing. I couldn't see them. But most people don't do things today, not for fear of failing, but for fear of someone judging them or someone laughing at them. We're in a gotcha society that's worse now than it's ever been. We literally look up videos from like 1999 or 2001, the earliest we could look at social feeds and go, oh my God, you said that is so inappropriate.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I was watching Friends the other day. Every night I probably watch Friends, somewhere in the house, because I still find it a very, very funny show.
Mm-hmm.
And it had the episode where Joey was going for a modeling shoot, and Rachel had set him up with some gear from Bloomingdale's, and she'd given him a man bag. And I don't know if you remember this episode, but he had basically a handbag, but it was like, no, it's a man bag. And he was saying to Chandler, don't you like it? And he's like, it's beautiful. If you were a lady.
Yeah.
Now, it was a funny episode that could never be done today.
Right.
We have become so politically correct. We can't say things. So what do? We say nothing, which means we've stopped communicating. We're in a society where we want to go, oh, you tried to do that. Look at you idiot. And have you noticed how many people are laughing at the people that never try?
Yeah.
So why should we be listening to them? So I think my superpower was, and still is, I'm ignorant. I do not give a shit what you think. I care about what I can do. Yeah. And I'll name drop. Elon Musk told me when we were walking through his SpaceX plant in Hawthorne, he said to me, do you know, they will always laugh at you just before they applaud.
Yeah. It's so true. You know what, Steve? I always tell people that I don't think I would have done Haste and Hustle the first time had I not been ignorant, because man, I screwed up so much stuff with it. It ended up being really great, and it ended up building something so much better. But in the moment, it was, crazy hard, and I made all these mistakes. And I made them because I was ignorant. I didn't know what I was doing all the time.
But you know the beautiful thing about ignorance is you can always get smarter. And how do you get smarter? By making mistakes.
Exactly.
Mistakes are education. Education is experience. Experience is credibility. And credibility you can charge a lot of money for.
Exactly. I feel like that's amazing. It's true.
That's cool.
I know. Do you, when you look back, or when you look at people who are, trying to build business, and, whether they're ignorant or not, do you believe that getting from, that brand new starter phase to the next phase, or from the, I'm a mid-stage entrepreneur and now I want to scale up to multi-millions of dollars, do you think that the main action is just action, or are there other strategies that you recommend people employ to get from one stage to the next?
So there's a lot of different strategies. And I mentioned to you Sims Media. And I only learned those strategies through me becoming educated by me failing.
Yeah.
You see, you've got to look at it like a relationship. Okay. The first time I met my wife, there was a lot of, excitement and oh my God, how do I do this? And there was this little bunny kind of excitement. That's the entrepreneur. Now, the entrepreneur, when they start a new business, they're always highly excitable until they get screwed, and all entrepreneurs need to be screwed, because that's where they start learning along the way. And the skill set you needed to start the business can usually be that ignorant, opulent excitement of, I want to do this and I'm going to do this. And people want to be part of that. But think about a relationship you've been in. The excitement I had when I first met Claire and the doughy-eyed love stage then is very different to the love stage I had with her 5 years in, 10 years in, that I do now 37 years in. But you have to recognize it. And you have to adapt. And there's certain points in your life where you have to go, hang on, I have to think about that, but I have to do that. I have to change the way I do that. Hey, that may have been really exciting and kind of funny at the time. Now it's freaking aggravating 37 years later. I have to change it. So you have to learn to grow, you have to adapt and you have to edit and you have to tweak. The problems you will have launching a new company are different to the problems that you have when you're taking it from 1 million to 5 mil. And they're very different when you take them from 5 mil to 25 mil. And they're very different the way you market. You can get away with just being kind of fun and frolicky when you start your business and you're advertising as such, but you can't be like that when you're marketing on a scalable model. So there are many different things, but the key factor is this ignorance. You don't want to ignore people that are laughing at you. You just want to be selective to the ones that are paying attention to you and are laughing. You see, the good thing is, and I think there's many different people in the world, there are cheerleaders and there are challengers and there are crabs. The cheerleaders are those people that go, "Yay, Shauna, you can do anything." They're no good. They look great in a short skirt jumping around with pom-poms. But outside of that, they're a waste of space. They can't do anything for you other than blow smoke. Okay? The crabs, these are the people that go, "Oh, no, you couldn't. Shauna, what are you thinking?" And we've all met them, haven't we? Those people that from the bar stall, because they'll never leave it.
Yeah.
They are sat there in that little coffee shop going, "Oh, you're ridiculous. You can't do that, Shauna. Hey, there's no way you can. Devon, no, you can't." The danger is you listening to them. Okay. And then there's the challengers. These are the people you want to surround yourself with. I will, like Shauna and Jay and, loads of our friends, and we all know, when I go along and I'm having a conversation with Jay Abraham or I'm having a conversation with Elon Musk and he says, "What are you working on?" And I go, "Oh, I'm working on this." And they turn around and go, "Really? That's worth your effort?" And you go, "Oh, maybe I should challenge myself to do more. Maybe I should try and disrupt a lot more." And so I try to surround myself with challenges, people that will push me to demand and aggravatingly want more of me. And now that I've been able to work with everyone from Elon Musk to the Pope, whenever I work with my clients, the first thing I go is, "That's your goal? That's what you're going for? Really?" And I want to potentially intimidate them to want to come back fighting for more. So I believe we need challenges in our life. So I like to stay ignorant because 90% of the planet, I can't hear you. But if Elon Musk laughs at me, I want to know why he's laughing at me. And 9 times out of 10, it's because he's going to want me to go for something bigger.
Right.
That's the people I want to listen to.
Good answer.
That's cool. That's awesome.
I love it.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like I was saying this to my friend yesterday, how, he's always like, "Man, you just have people like pumping your tires all day long every day," because he hears a lot of my calls. and I said, "I know, but like, they don't mean it. Like, it doesn't mean anything to me, because I know, if someone says, 'Oh, you're amazing at this, that, and the other,' and I know they have no knowledge of that. They're just saying it to say it." Yeah. And, so I have a pretty keen awareness of that, smoke blowing, and it doesn't faze me anymore. Like, yeah, sure, it's nice, I guess, but like, it's not like I like hold that close and think, "Okay, they're right. I'm the queen of the world." And, So anyway, good. I liked hearing that. So thank you for reiterating that point. It's coming home.
The last group of those are challenging, but they're still laughing. But the challenge, that's cool. Very, very important.
Yeah, it's a different. Always gauge a person. Always gauge the remark by the source.
Yeah,
exactly. If you've got if you've got Warren Buffett laughing and challenging you about your bank account, listen. Yeah. If you've got the guy that can only afford 1 beer at a bar, don't listen. So look at the source before you pay attention to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's totally true. Man, Steve, I'm laughing my ass off right now, and like in the best way possible. I love your energy, and like you're literally yourself. I can see it. I don't know, where did that start from? And have you ever not been yourself? Has it been tested?
Oh, fuck yeah. It was my biggest mistake. You see, for years, when I started my business, as an aggravated kid, and I didn't know what my business was. I didn't have a business plan. I was working on the doorman of, I know it's a stretch, but I was a doorman of a nightclub. Can you imagine that? Little sensitive me.
For those of you that are only listening, Steve looks like he could be a bouncer of any club.
So
yeah.
Exactly.
I was a doorman of a nightclub thinking, shit, I'm not going to get anywhere here. God made me big and ugly, and that's what I got to do. But there's something funny about the mentality of an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur always looks to see, how is this a silver lining? The richest guy on a rainy day is the guy selling the umbrellas. When I was working on the door of that nightclub, I had a beautiful pedestal to see interaction with human beings. I actually got to see how people, they're truly affluent, how they spoke to each other. Those wannabes that, had just bought their latest watch that looks like a Rolex, but sure shit ain't. How they acted, and the guys that were there just to have a punch up, the girls that were there just to start some trouble. Just all that. You got to see and read body language. It was a great lesson for me to be able to see humanity. Mm-hmm. From there, I had a goal. I wanted to talk to rich people. Now, I knew I didn't look like Hugh Grant, look or sound like him. I wasn't debonair. I wasn't connected. I didn't have any of these attributes. Shauna was saying about my book. I wrote Bluefishing, what was it, 4 years ago? With a ghostwriter. She's seen my emails. I can't spell for shit. Didn't stop me writing a best-selling book. But the bottom line of it is, a lot of the time we focus in our inadequacies rather than our unicorns. My unicorn was I wanted to help you so you would have a conversation with me. I knew I wasn't good looking. I knew I wasn't suave. I knew I couldn't spell. I knew all of those things. So the easiest way to make you blind to them is to be the answer to your problem. Now, if I'm the answer to your problem, you don't care what I look like. Do you care what your mechanic looks like when he's fixing your car? Do you care how hot your dentist is when you can't sleep because there's a root canal you need? You don't care, do you? So I focused on the client, and so I didn't look at me. Now, here's the dumb thing. It was about 7 years later in my career. I was well known. I had a penthouse in Geneva. I was well known within, literally the richest people in the planet. I was on a plane every 2 weeks traveling to Stade, Palm Beach, Macau. My passports, literally every 2 years, had to get a new passport because of the stamps. It was ridiculous. And I used to lie to the passport people saying that I'd lost it just so I could collect them with all the different stamps in, because you got to hand them back in. So I was doing all of that. And then one day I had a party with Ferrari. And this is actually in the book. Shauna, you may have heard about this.
Oh, I remember.
I literally had a party for the 50th anniversary for Ferrari in Monaco. The biggest brand in the world, celebrating the 50th anniversary. I won't be around to see the 100th in Monaco during the Formula One weekend. Wow. It was the trifecta on top of the trifecta. And for any of you that don't know, the Monaco Grand Prix is a week after the Cannes Film Festival. So every major actor in the planet from Bollywood to Hollywood is there. And they were at our party, Wow. Now, about 2 months prior to this, and to be aware, as for those people that are listening and not watching this, I'm wearing a black T-shirt and jeans. Shauna, have you ever seen me not in a black T-shirt and jeans?
No, you're like the Steve Jobs of
good point.
So simple. Black T-shirt and jeans, and always on a motorcycle.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the only thing I haven't seen you in is the full leathers. That's the only other thing I see.
Yeah. I put those on when I'm on the racetrack and stuff.
Yeah,
but I'm always on a motorbike. Okay. Yeah. In fact, today I don't have a car. The last car I had was a truck, and I only bought the truck so I could move my motorcycles around that were broken or I needed new parts. I panicked 2 months before this party. I don't know why, but I woke up one morning and I went, hang on a minute. This can't go to that party. And I remember I went out and I bought a watch in 1997. I think it was like 55 grand. I paid for a watch. I had a tailor make me about 3 suits. And through my connections with Ferrari, I actually bought a 1972 Ferrari Dino, which now is worth about half a mil to 3/4 of a mil. All right. Now it was a lot cheaper then, but I bought that. And I was swanning around Monaco in this car, in this suit, wearing this watch that was the price of my parents' first home. And I thought I was the shit. And I went to these parties. Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger were doing Terminator and Rambo during that period. So they were the 2 biggest action stars in the planet. And I was at the bar with them. I was looking after the Sultan of Brunei, Prince Albert, Hugh Grant, and Liz Hurley, who were the it couple. Do you remember Liz Hurley? That dress with the safety pins? Yeah, they were the it couple at the time. I was the one leading them around, introducing them to the most powerful people in the planet.
Wow.
Right? And I got home back to my penthouse in Geneva, and it was back in those days. You probably won't remember this, Devon, and maybe you will short of just slightly. But it was back.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks.
It was back in those days when we didn't have digital cameras. We had cameras with a roll of film in the back.
Yeah, I'm going to remember that, Steve.
You may remember it from old movies, but
okay, yeah.
You'd stick it in your envelope, and any time over the next 3 years, you'd get those pictures back of that party. So I remember going back to Geneva, all chuffed with myself. Yeah, I was totally stoked, and I sent off these camera, and the film came back, and all the pictures. And I remember it was like I was opening up a royal letter. You know, I had this, I knew what it was. I literally, in mid-afternoon, sat down in my office, overlooking Parc de Bastion in Geneva, poured myself an afternoon shot of whiskey, and then started to open these pictures like it was a royal decree. I was high and full of myself. And I got these photographs out. Prince Albert, Sylvester Stallone, Hugh Grant, Sultan of Brunei, some people that you've never heard of that are just billionaires in this, okay? And I'm looking through these pictures. Do you know what I noticed? I wasn't in a single picture.
Oh.
Now, you're thinking, well, that's a bit stupid. The guy with the overpriced watch and the suit was, but that kid wasn't me. This precocious shit that thought he needed a change to get your attention, your approval. That prick was in the pictures. And I realized that while I had sold experiences to go down and see the Titanic, ride around in a Formula One car, meet the Pope, meet the Sultan of Brunei, meet Prince Albert, I had sold the one damn thing that I never should have. Me.
Yourself.
I had sold my soul to try and get your approval. Literally, I got drunk for about 3 days. It was such a kick in the testes for me. Some friends intervened before I hurt myself. And I'd literally gone into a mass depression from that second.
Wow.
Now, once they cleaned me up and sobered me up and I was in bed for a few days, it was terrible. I was done. And because I was an East London bricklayer biker. I thought I had bigger strength than that. Clearly I did not. And we've often said that was probably the greatest party in the planet that I never went to.
Right.
Wow.
And so I still have one of those pictures of me leaning up against that Ferrari, trying to do my best Miami Vice Don Johnson impersonation. And I still have it there as a reminder to not be that prick.
Right.
Now, as soon as I sobered myself up, or before I did, I had someone pick up the car and get rid of it. All my suits were put into the cupboard. You couldn't sell those. My watch was sold. And the suits were put in the cupboard, and I was wearing them. Never, ever wore those suits again. And I told myself when I woke up, if you don't like this, that's fine. But I ain't going to change this for you because I don't need it that much.
Right.
And so, yeah, one of the biggest things that happens to entrepreneurs is sooner or later, you start listening to people that don't matter. If people do business with you, that's because they want to do business with you, not because your suit, not because your car, not because your watch. And that's the other side as well. If you're doing business with someone because of that car, because of that watch, because of the suit, then you're not dealing with them.
Yeah.
You're dealing with your inadequacies. You're dealing with them because you want that car. You want that watch. They probably hocked it as well. They probably rented the freaking watch and car. You know, the amount of people now that are getting photographs on private jets, and you can book it in Burbank. Right. You can book photo shoots. In fact, you haven't even got to go to the airport.
And I was going to say, the jet's not going anywhere, right? It's like, it's on the tarmac.
There's actually half a fuselage in downtown LA that you can rent for photo shoots. And it is in a like this studio, and you sit in there and you can get people to serve you drinks. You can get a shot outside the window of like Hong Kong or New York, and you're sitting in a freaking prop. And people are actually taking photographs of themselves there and then trying to show off that they want a private jet on their way into Macau or Monaco. And the fact that we even care about that now, with everything that's gone on over the past few years, sure as shit, we have better things to worry about.
Yeah.
So, it did hit me. It hurt me. And I realized at that time, I'll basically sell anything for someone's happiness and pleasure, never for you to hurt someone else. But if it interests and excites you, then I'll come up with an invoice of it. But I will never, ever invoice my soul. You can't afford that.
Well, okay. I believe that too. I'm totally like gonna go for a walk after this and reevaluate everything that I'm saying and doing. But no, you're entirely right. I'm not even trying to make light of it. You're totally right. And Instagram does not help at all, because it really skews what people see, and that's crazy.
It's funny how we know that it's all fake, like academically, but we for some reason can't make the connection entirely. You know, like, I mean, I know when I look at people's Instagram that I'm just looking at their happy moments. Like, I know that. And, you know, and I'm not looking at the moments when they're going through their divorce or they're losing all their money because of a bad business deal or whatever it looks like. But I still can't fully connect it. Like, I'm still like, yeah, but they did this, you know? And so I wonder what it is in us. Anyway, I'm just sort of spouting.
No, I wonder the same thing. And you see it, and we're
superficial. We are very superficial. I realized years ago that my gut was smarter than my eyeballs. And
that's good.
Let's be serious. You can watch a movie now where a building gets picked up by a lizard and throws into the ocean, and you just sit there with your popcorn going, wow, that looks fantastic. And it looks real. Okay. But there's something in your gut that goes, something's wrong here. This isn't right. And we don't listen to it. When have you ever met someone in a bar, in a party, in a business environment, and they've got the watch, they've got the suit, they've got the Ferrari key ring, they've got all of the stories, they've got all the name dropping, but something's in your stomach going, something's not right about this fella.
Oh, totally. Definitely. And somehow they seem to still attract a small harem of people that are gravitating to it. And I'm always wondering, like, it's clear that this person is projecting this for everybody. Like, but what's the deal? Why? You know, why are they ignoring that gut? I don't really know. Maybe they just,
because they're drawn by their inadequacies. They see that most confident people attract unconfident people. You know, they want to. It's like the Kardashians are a perfect example. Okay. No one's ever said a nice thing about the Kardashians ever. They're a freaking laughing stock. Okay. You look at them and you just go, are you kidding? You know, but so many people look and they go, but I would like to live Kim's life. I would like to have that. I'd like to go to those parties. And so they attract a certain voyeurism of, well, I know they're funny and I know they're a train wreck, but I just got to keep watching because, oh my God, I'd like to live their life for 10 minutes.
We imagine that feeling good is the only thing that's they're experiencing.
It's the only thing that we can do. In fact, we like to see, and this is where it gets really bad about human psychology. We like to see the arguments that they're having. We like to see the sad and traumatic times that they've been through, because in some way, shape, or form, we've all been through trauma. And now what does that do? That makes them relatable. Right. And the TV channel realized, hang on a minute, by always showing them having a wonderful life, they were detracted from reality. But hang on, boyfriend problems, marriage problems. Now, true, not everyone's husband suddenly become a woman overnight, so maybe not everyone's had that problem, but they've had a lot of trauma that we can relate to. The second they had that, they became more relatable and actually ramped up their attractiveness.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it was crazy. It actually happened, and I forget the guy's name. Do you remember when Kim, sounds as if I'm a bloody Kardashian expert, but do you remember when Kim married the basketball player?
Yes.
I don't know what
for like a couple of days or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, and everyone thought it was a scam.
Yeah,
and there was threats by the sponsors because of that scam that had been done, and that had been done for TV. Yeah. All the sponsors wanted to pull out, and she went on TV, and it was a big lesson in crisis management.
Right.
And she went on there and she went, we've all made mistakes. He wasn't the right. And everyone went, oh, I feel for you. I've had bad relationships. And all of a sudden it increased their viewership. No trauma or family issues had been played prior to that episode.
Really?
And then they realized, hang on a minute, the relatability metrics is a solid one because we've all been through shit.
Right.
That was Chris Humphries.
Right.
Chris Humphries. Thank you.
Well, I definitely relate to the Kardashians on every level. So
you are the Canadian Kim.
Oh,
Canadian Kim.
Yeah.
Oh, Steve, that's gonna stick now. Behind the scenes, I'm calling her that.
Yeah.
I hope not.
That'll be the only soundbite. This entire podcast will not be listening to apart from that soundbite.
Why does Steve Sims think that Shauna is the Canadian Kim?
There you go.
Okay.
Over.
All right. That's enough. Anyway, well, that is interesting. I mean, I've never really been a Kardashian subscriber in any way. I've never even seen their show, but I'm very aware of, their PR, the way they exhibit themselves through just great PR. And I think you're totally right. The relatability is, and sort of stating that point.
They are a phenomenal masterclass in PR, branding, advertising, attractability. They are a phenomenal masterclass. I don't care if you love them or hate them, but you can't ignore them. Yeah. They are a modern cultural item, and the way that they've been able to do it is a masterclass. And if you're an entrepreneur out there and you're trying to find a way to keep yourself current, you haven't got to reinvent the wheel. Look how other people keep themselves current, and they've done it a lot.
Yeah, that's true. Awesome. Well, I think I think that we've sort of driven the point home that authenticity and being who you are and just, wanting to express yourself exactly as you are is a key element in great business and great branding, in all those things. And, even on our last podcast, we were interviewing Lynn Smith, who is a CNN anchor, and she said the same thing. It's, it's all about being exactly who you are. And it sounds cliche in a lot of ways, but it is an absolute truth. And so thank you for kind of driving that point home. I think it's really important for people to hear that, because so many people are too busy trying to be something else and something that they're not, and they're not going to be successful at that. So yeah, I want to move on to, one thing when I first met you and when I first learned about, the work that you did through our friend Brian, and got to come to your book launch and obviously read your book, was just how great you were managing clients and building relationships. And to me, that's, one of the biggest parts of building business is great client management. And you, to me, are the master of it. I always try to think about what would Steve do in, in some of these situations that I get into. And so I'd love for you to share a little bit about how you go about trying to stand out to your clients, and what are some of maybe share. You're such a great storyteller with all your interesting stories. So share some examples of things that you've done to stand out and build those relationships.
Well, the first thing you got to do is recognize that it's a relationship, okay? And it's not a transaction. If a client wants X and you deliver them X, you just completed a transaction and Amazon has just taken your job. You just don't realize it yet. So a relationship is when both parties win. I solve your problem, you pay me for that, and then you kick me around to help you again. So that's a relationship, and you've got to work out how can you keep relationships fresh. And I remember years ago, a friend of mine talked me through this in the same process of a sequoia tree. It was the weirdest metaphor that he used, but I absolutely loved it. He showed me a picture of a sequoia tree, and the sequoia tree is the largest, strongest, most powerful tree in the world. So big and powerful that they cut a hole in it in the parks so buses and cars can drive through it. That's a sequoia tree. But it starts off as a very fragile, vulnerable seed. Now, if you throw the seed in the soil, it ain't going to grow. You got to water it, nurture it, fertilize it, crop it, clean it. And then as it starts to break soil, you got to protect it. So while it's at that tiny little twig stage, it doesn't get trampled, spat on, the elements don't kill it. You got to constantly protect it. You got to put a lot of effort into it. And then maybe after 60 years, that thing becomes strong enough to look after itself. Then you can walk away from it. Well, that's the same with a relationship. If you meet someone every 2 years at a entrepreneur event, you're like, Jimmy, how you doing? That's not a relationship. They're not your friends. That's an acquaintance. A relationship is someone that you know, someone that you can feel, someone that you can go, hey, I am hearing it in your voice. Something's not right. How can I help you? What's going on at the moment? And if you want that, and that's the big question today, if you want that relationship, you got to put work in. And so I will literally talk to a client and I'll be like, hey, dude, like this entire conversation, we've spoken about Monaco, we've spoken about the Kardashians. Think about it. Just imagine if you put a little note in your contact thing that said, on this Monday, I called SHAUNA the Canadian Kim, just that note. And then you just left it there. And then you make a calendar alert in your Outlook or whatever you use as a calendar 9 months from now to reach out to SHAUNA. Okay. And you just go, hey, how you doing? It's my Canadian Kardashian. How are you? Now, here's the funny thing. In 9 months' time, if I brought that up, wouldn't you go, oh, I remember. Yeah, I remember that.
And you'd say, stop calling me that.
Yeah, shut up, Steve. But the bottom line of it is, it would be an element that shows that I had paid attention. It would be something that only me and you and everyone else that listens to this podcast knows about.
Right.
But the amount of times that I've heard about, oh, yeah, my kids are going to a new school. Oh, where are they going? Oh, they're going to so-and-so. Make a little note. Oh, yeah, we just got this little dog. It's shitting all over the place. Make a note of the dog, send him a text in like 2 months' time. Hey, is little Timmy still shitting on the rug? Just something like that. And they go, oh, he remembered about my dog. It isn't hard. Have a conversation. I have a pad and pen next to me. And when something's said, and I'm having a meeting, I just literally just pick up my pen, make a little note on it, and then put it into my contacts after the conversation. And then make an outlook, for like 6-8 months' time. If I haven't spoken to you between now and then, that will alert me to go, reach out. We spoke about the Kardashians, the podcast. We were just coming up to HASTE and Hustle. And she said about that, she got a driving license, she got the passport redone while listening to my book. I could take any one of those notes, bring it up in a conversation, and you would literally go, wow, he remembered that. He thought, he paid attention. It isn't hard. In fact, you've almost got to take an effort to ignore that.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So if you want a relationship, understand it's a sequoia tree. Now, how many times have people heard about you and got something wrong? It could be and we're entrepreneurs. You know, the classic thing we do now is if you're an entrepreneur and you're in this space and there's a competitor over here, what do? You seed doubt on the other competitor. Oh, that's scam. Oh, I heard something bad about the CEO. Oh, I don't want to talk about it. You know, what did you hear? I can't talk about it. All of a sudden, the rumor starts. You know, your friends have never, ever spread a rumor. Acquaintances have, but friends never do. Because friends are those sequoia trees. Friends are those people that go, shut up. No, she didn't. They got your back because you've spent the time and energy in building a relationship, not an acquaintance. Acquaintances are brittle. Acquaintances will listen to anybody. And when that person turns around and goes, yeah, I heard about you, Steve. Did you? Fuck off. Don't care.
Okay.
You know, your friends will never bring that to the table.
That's awesome on so many levels. On that, going back to the practical thing of setting the calendar invite, I feel like a lot of us will think, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, or they forget the invite, or something happens. What about? And then I think people feel so bad because so much time has passed, and they may think of the person, they still want to reach out, but then they feel bad, so they don't. And I've done that, and I know a lot of people do. What do they do? What do you do at that point? Can you still just say, you know what, get over it, get over your fear? It's been a long time, whatever, reach out. Is there any different method? You kind of just have to
there is,
it?
but let me ask you this. How far are you away from your phone at this current moment in time?
My phone's within 1 meter of me at all times.
Shauna, where's yours?
Right here.
Yeah, and mine's in my hand. So we've really got rid of that excuse already, haven't we? But here's the other thing. In 9 months' time, if you fail to contact someone, okay, they've also failed to contact you.
Yeah.
Okay. So while you turn around going, oh, it's too late. It's too late for me to contact them. It's not going to go well. You're correct if you believe that. Okay. But how about if you just contacted them and you went, Devon, I meant to give you a call 6 months ago, and me being a twat, time got in the way. Now, bear in mind, you didn't contact me either. So you're not going to turn around and go, yeah, you didn't, Steve. I hate you. You're going to be sitting there going, shit, I didn't phone him either. I didn't need that. So you're doing the same thing. So by you turning around and going, damn, doesn't life get in the way? You know, I don't have to contact you. And bang, you're in. So own it, but do it. You see, if you want to stand out, you first of all have to stand up.
Oh, that's good.
Mic drop.
Yeah, soundbite. Click right there. Okay.
I know. You know, it's really funny. Like, I feel like this could become a Joe Rogan, like 4-hour marathon interview, but we know that your time is valuable and you have other things to do. So we are definitely, your stories are so good. And so I find this so interesting. This is great. But we want to, honor your time and make sure we kind of get a few more questions in here and just, get as much goodness as we can for our audience.
I'm looking at question 1 thinking like, what's Steve going to say to this? Considering, okay, signature question here, Steve. The one we ask, who would you want to have dinner with? I guess and I'm looking.
Do you know my answer? My answer's changed today that it would have done a month ago. Because I've been asked that question before. And I noticed that you didn't say alive or dead.
Because I feel like I didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I'm glad you didn't say that, because if it was dead, it would be Hitler. I would want to ask that guy, what were you so scared of?
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, this short brown-haired guy was trying to build the master race of blue-eyed blonde heroes that would have one day turned around and gone, well, you're the ugly duckling. I would have turned on him. So what was he so scared of to have been so hurtful?
Yeah.
That's the question I would have asked Hitler. And in today's environment, I'd like to sit down and ask the same question to Putin. What are you so shit scared of that you would do something so disastrous? What is terrifying you? Because there's no intelligence. It's something is scaring him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is, I love that answer because it's, so different. And also you're right. Like I think it's so important to want to talk to the people who have done so much destruction and find out for a couple of reasons, so we don't create those people again.
That's
but
right.
Also so we can,
understand where the fear comes from so that we can remove it and not have that happen again.
If you weren't doing this, what would you be doing?
What, talking to you?
Your current work.
I would probably be racing more motorcycles, drinking more whiskey, and doing more of what I'm doing. Why would you not do what I do? You know?
I was thinking that when I asked it. I was like, you kind of got it made there, Steve.
Yeah, kind of.
All these questions you're giving solid answers. Okay.
We're gonna ask you one. Yeah, we're gonna ask you one more question. Then we're gonna let you chat a little bit about what you're doing now and how you currently work to support entrepreneurs.
Yeah,
but go
this
ahead.
One
Devon.
definitely ties in. Yeah. So considering what Sana just said, our last question is: if you could give founders one piece of advice, what would it be?
All right. The first time you do anything, it's gonna be shit. That's a fact. The first time you do anything, the first event SHAUNA ever did was shit compared to the events that she does now. The first time Devon ever did a podcast was shit compared to how it is now. You can only get good once you get going, and the first time you do anything will be crap. If you accept that, it will allow you to try more things. It's your get out of jail free card. Anything you try today is going to be shit compared to what it's going to be like. But to get to that 6 months, you first got to do something shit.
Amazing. It's true. It's true. Awesome. Okay. Well, tell everybody, I want you to take some time and share just a bit about what you're doing. Cause I've been working with one of your clients who you referred to me to help. And she, is over the moon about the work that you're doing. So I'd love to hear and for you to share with our audience just about all of this.
Wow. So you can find me at steveDsims.com or anywhere that you get your media, Steve D. Sims. I coach, I train, I run speakeasies, which is my idea of a reverse mastermind all over America. We do 3 a year. Next one's in New York, 10th and 11th of May. Who's going? Not telling you. Where's it going to be? Not telling you until 3 days before. What's going to happen? You incredibly uncomfortable and then spit you out with more impact. So it's a hell of a cool 2 days. I co-founded a marketing and branding company, Sims.media, with my handsome son, Henry. Really enjoy working with my family. That's proven to be a lot better than I thought it would be. You obviously always terrified thinking that, but he knows his lanes. I know my lanes. We respect those and we're doing really, really well with that. But really, I should tell you, I'm also writing my second book. I can't tell you much about it, but it's called Go for Stupid. And we actually have a NFT collection to go in line with the book. So
amazing.
We're trying loads of weird stuff.
I've seen them. They look good. I've seen the way the art looks cool. The bobblehead kind of version. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it too. That's cool. I know. And I think that it's great to stay current with all the current ways that we can market ourselves. These days.
Try it.
I know,
just try it.
Yeah.
Now I
awesome.
will say, I made so many mistakes launching my NFT, but as we've already established, that's education. Now I am way smarter than someone that hasn't released an NFT. So that's how you get educated.
That's right. Well, and there's a lot of work in that. We get a lot of people request that of us even. So we'll have to share our learnings on all of that sometime.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well,
I will become a collector.
Yeah. Honestly, Steve, this has been amazing. I do love, one thing I was just thinking as you were talking is just what a good storyteller you are. And I think that is also something that you should, share just a little bit as you're doing your, I mean, I'm sure you do, but in your work, just the power of storytelling. I mean, you're great at it. So this makes for a great guest. Podcast. So awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thank you to all of our listeners for being here and getting tactical with us today. And we will see you next time.
Thanks, everyone.